Right. Hi, Guru. Welcome. Good to have you here. My name is Bart, and we're here as part of Coherence 2025 online asynchronous conference. And we're having our first conversation ever, I guess. We haven't talked one-on-one. We've seen each other in other calls. So I think it's very interesting that we're having this conversation to get to know each other, to dive into your work and my work and how it relates to coherence, which is all about conscious collaboration and wise AI. So welcome. How are you feeling today?
Yeah, thank you. I'm feeling great. It's wonderful to talk to you, and yeah, I've seen you in social media for a while now. But yeah, it's great that we can, have this conversation and yeah, know about each other and each other's projects. I'm doing great. It's a rainy day here. It's been raining in the middle of the summer the last week. So yeah, no complaints at all. The temperature's been a bit cooler, and yeah, enjoying my time. How are you doing? How
You
are you
are?
doing?
Yeah, I'm great. I'm great. Uh, but let's not dive too much into us, in the weather and all of that. I would love to know more about your work and yeah, what you're doing. So I know you're working on Let's Grow DAO, um, which is all about enabling the regenerative movement. I have one question actually. Like, where are you located?
In Bangalore, India, south of India.
In the south of India. Yeah. So actually, my first question would be like, can you share a little bit more about what Let's Grow DAO does and how it also relates to where you live? Because I don't know so many people in that region yet. So I would love to know also what's happening on the ground and how you connect, what you're doing with what's happening locally and globally. Like, how do you build that bridge?
Sure. Yeah, Let's Grow is a DAO. It's a one person, one vote DAO with currently 21 members in it. And yeah, there's a bunch of community members as well. The mission of Let's Grow DAO is to unite and grow the region movement. Yeah, by unite and grow, we mean, bring all the tribes together and help them grow in whatever way we can help them. We got started with actually, complementing the Gitcoin grant rounds with, live programming, 24/7 live programming for all the startups and communities that were that were raising funds through the grant program. And
What do you mean with that? What do you mean with live
so
programming?
it was, so we started with a 24/7 radio. This was, maybe 2022, somewhere in the beginning of that. And yeah, so the grant program runs for 2 weeks usually. And there's a bunch of projects participating in different thematic rounds. So we were mainly focused on the climate and, coordination, open source, public goods uh, ecosystem, and yeah, the projects that were raising funds during that period. They had a platform. We offered them a platform to sign up, hourly or a half hourly slots, so they could like come online every day and chat with their community or educate their community about what they're doing. And yeah, so it's a 24/7 cycle thing. People from around the world sign up for it, and there are stewards behind the scenes taking care of all the technical stuff, and there are hosts who come on and decide their programming for the day. And yeah, they engage with their community in different ways, so they can plan their own program based on what fits their needs. um,
Yeah.
so we've done maybe 5 or 6 editions of that until now. So we do that every quarter. We have a 2 week long 24/7 program. And yeah, so that's how we started Let's Grow DAO. But we also did some offline events that were, uh, you know, that were based around like some of the larger events that were happening in the ecosystem. For example, in Brussels, we did Regenaissance Day, we called it, with, we connected some projects that were ready to raise funds and connect to investors. So we had a investor pitching, program, and then we also organized a party to just close the whole conference after 5 days. And yeah, we brought all the regions to celebrate together. And yeah, we also had a camp at the Gathering of Tribes. So yeah, we've been trying to not exclusively do our own events, but more piggyback on some of the larger events and like bring our communities together. So yeah,
Yeah.
those are the two main things we've done until now.
Yeah.
And yeah, there are also some other programs we have taken up with, some educational stuff to onboard people to Web3, and based on the requirements of some of the programs request us to, take up additional things. We also do that in the Web3 refi public good space.
Yeah. Beautiful. All right. So it started as an add-on to Gitcoin, and I can imagine there's still that strong connection. What
Exactly.
have you noticed as being the biggest benefit or value that you could offer to participating projects that were applying for Gitcoin grants? Like, what's the main added value that you are able to provide?
Hmm. So I think the biggest one is, the projects getting visibility through us, because, we're always online, and anyone who follows us or like follows the projects that are taking part can instantly see that, this person is speaking in this space or participating in this live stream, and, people can, jump onto it anytime. So it's running 24/7, right? So if you just need to talk to somebody in your community and want to connect with them, we're always there. So yeah,
Yeah.
as a platform, we get you more visibility so that you can yeah, share more about your project and kind of get more donations, so that it increases your matching through the quadratic funding mechanism, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a positive sum relationship with the projects that participate. It helps them get extra funds, and yeah, it keeps the vibes alive. So yeah, that we have a great time, and yeah, we really connect deeply, apart from like the funding part of it, because you just have so much time together. You talk about a lot of topics which are really broad in yeah, in the spectrum, and yeah, you just happen to like build really good relationships if you just hang around the kind of people who understand what you do. So yeah, we've made
Exactly.
a lot of collaborations just emerge from these spaces where it's literally instant. Like someone talks about something they're working on, and like there's a need for somebody who's on the space to that they've been exploring, and like instantly they come up and they share about what they're doing, and there's a collaboration there already. So yeah, it's hard to quantify the value that these spaces bring, but uh, yeah, we are pretty sure that it's a lot, and yeah, we can't yeah, account for all of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful. Wow. And maybe coming back to my initial question as well, like how do you bridge the global with the local? Because this sounds like a more global coordination because it's all online. Is there also a bridge with the local?
Mm. Um, so the bridge with the local would be through the projects that participate in our programs, right? So we have people from around the world to share their stories about, their difficulties, their challenges, and like what, yeah, the local, conditions are. And, when people listen to those, yeah, when people listen to those things, it's yeah, like someone can help someone out, so they can connect them to someone else, or if somebody knows someone from the same local area, and they can get them, help them get through some of the challenges. That's our way of connecting the local, but also the locals to the global, right? So
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
like a sense making platform, I would say, in some way, where yeah, we kind of hear people from around the world like throughout the day, right? So we can get a sense of what the environmental conditions are, political conditions are, and financial, economic. So we talk about a lot of topics. So yeah, we really gather a lot of information, and through our content, I guess people can help each other out in some way.
yeah, yeah. And so you say there's local people on the platform. What is kind of the spread in terms of focus areas in locality? Where do you see most people and projects joining from? What are the countries you're most established in?
So it really, yeah, I would say there is like a kind of a dead zone. So because we operate 24/7, right? We keep the whole thing alive the whole time. Like even when there are no, speakers up, we kind of play music or some pre-recorded stuff. So yeah, it's always running, and there are a few hours, let's say more like during the Australian, like that kind of a time zone where there are people not active at a certain period of time. But yeah, otherwise, our most active times are somewhere more more closely related, like aligned with like the European and the American time. But yeah, we still have projects from around the world, and it really depends on when they're free, because sometimes even let's say if you want to cater to the Indian community, like people working during their working day, they don't really come online during the space, and only when they get free, let's say in the evenings or like before they go to work, can they come online and talk. So yeah, it really depends. It's hard to gauge, but yeah, we have a really broad community from around the world, and I think it's we have people from everywhere join. Like it's hard to pick, but maybe people from, let's say, China and Russia a little bit less so. But yeah, everywhere else there is like enough representation from Africa to South America, North America, Europe, India, Southeast Asia. Yeah, it's
Nice.
a, it's a it's a global thing for sure. Yeah, it's hard to pick, and it
Yeah,
really also depends on the projects that are raising, who are aware of Gitcoin, and the ones who qualify to those runs as well, right? So yeah, it's a direct correlation maybe in some
yeah.
sense.
Yeah, well, I think that's quite powerful that you're so distributed across the globe. And like you say, you get a lot of cultural specifics because of that. And knowing what works in which area in terms of, I don't know, legal, business,
Yeah,
organization. I can imagine also in terms of how projects organize themselves, it depends on the cultural background. So yeah, it sounds like a very rich ecosystem you are creating with a lot of different backgrounds and fields of expertise.
yeah. It takes a lot of
Um,
effort, Yeah, thanks to the stewards for doing all the hard work, because yeah, it does take a lot to do this over 2 weeks when nobody's getting paid. So yeah, there's a lot of motivation that just comes up, and yeah, people do it. So it's fascinating how it works. There are so many lessons to learn for sure. Yeah.
yeah, well, can you maybe share a little bit more about that? Like how does it work? Like how do you work together with these coast stewards all across the globe in different time zones? And you organize as a DAO, so I'm also curious how does that how does that operate? How does that work? Especially because I've heard stories that DAOs in itself, I think Joost Schouten from Nestor wrote this piece, DAOs don't work, with a
Yeah,
little bit of a wordplay there, but also a truth that the DAOs itself are more like a shell, and the actual organization of the work, the operation still requires other ways of organizing, like sociocracy or holacracy or any kind of organizational model to really make an organization come to life. So yeah, can you share more about how is that structured? How is that organized? How does the DAO
yeah,
connect to the actual getting the work done?
right.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. So yeah, the DAO is structured in, let's say, two tiers. One is the voting members who have like one person, one vote decision making on like the most important, like the core decisions of the DAO, which are financial and also, adding or removing members from the DAO. So those are the two fundamental things that, yeah, the core one person, one DAO members control. And the second layer is people who have worked with the DAO in some capacity, either through stewarding or hosting or creating content. So we have like different ways that the DAO, works in, the online live stream, the offline stuff. So yeah, we have activities that you can earn Grow for. So we have a token called Grow token, which is a reputation token. It's not a financial token, but just a reputation token. And we have, yeah,
What does that
allocations
mean?
for.
What does that mean in
So it
practice? A reputation token?
it means, so in practice it means it um, yeah, it relates to how much work you have contributed to the DAO, right? So it's a compensation in some way, it's a recognition in some way of the work you've done with the DAO, right?
Yes.
So
So
let's
it's
say,
more
so
about
stewarding,
your communal status, that people
exactly.
can see. Okay, this person has contributed, but it doesn't have other specific utility other than people in the DAO might be more willing to help you because you have contributed a lot.
Yeah, it does have utility in terms of it gives you some decision-making powers in the
Okay.
non-financial decisions. So let's say we want to create a roadmap, and we want to decide how do we go about it. Like so, if we have to vote on it, the people who have earned more reputation have a higher say in like how the DAO makes these decisions. So yeah, we do have that utility. But yeah, the main thing is, so when we do Let's Grow Live, that's the 24/7 live stream. We have, yeah, we allocate Grow for, the different tasks that you do. So if you're a steward, there's a X amount of Grow you can earn. If you're a host, there's a X amount of Y amount of Grow you can earn. And yeah, so that's one way for us to, compensate, not financially, but through a reputation token. And yeah, to make this all work, there's obviously a core team and who's in charge of producing this whole program. So we have pre-programming and during Let's Grow Live and post Let's Grow Live. So there's a working team that comes together every season, and yeah, we go through the whole process to yeah, deliver this thing.
Nice.
I,
Oh,
I
that sounds like quite an operation.
Yeah, it does. So I must say, it's not all smooth that way. Yeah, we do run into challenges in terms of like, yeah, sometimes stewards don't show up, sometimes, the hosts don't show up. So you need some kind of a backup and yeah, a way to manage all of these things. Yeah, we don't have, punishment mechanisms as such in place as of now. But yeah, I don't know if that works either, but because it's all voluntary, right? So yeah, we do run into challenges sometimes, when we have uh, really key financial decisions to make, there are not enough voters to vote, and like, yeah, the things get held up, which yeah, we're trying to fix now, and yeah, we're trying to evolve into the next phase to become better as an operation. So yeah, you're not
Yeah.
wrong in terms of saying DAOs don't work. It is a challenge. It takes a lot of effort. But yeah, we're figuring it out as we go.
Yeah. I mean, I guess we're still in the early days of DAOs, right? It's a rich experimentation phase. Many organizations playing around with it, and it's often seen as a holy grail, like it's going to solve a lot of our problems. But then when you put it in practice, you realize, oh, there is so much more that comes with it. And it's more a technical framework than that it actually solves human coordination and how we collaborate as teams and how we communicate. So you already shared a little bit of the challenges. Can you share a bit more about what you experience at this point as the limitations of DAOs, and maybe also the strong points, like in your experience of using this DAO framework, what have you experienced as the limitations, but also the strengths and the benefits that it brings?
Yeah, I think in terms of limitations, um, yeah, it can be, yeah. So each DAO is different, right? So the way you structure your DAO really depends on what you're trying to do, and yeah, for different purposes, you can design your DAO in different ways. But in our case, we've always wanted autonomy, and one person, one voting as like the core need, because yeah, the way the DAO was formed, yeah, it was a reaction to something which was more centralized, that didn't work in the way that it was supposed to, and yeah, so the reason we did it in such a way was because yeah, we thought it was a strong foundation for us to work with, reputation, with one person, one voting, and like all of these are important ingredients, because you have to recognize the contribution of the people, but at the same time, account for inefficiencies and like how we can get things done, right? So it is. Um, I think the limitation here is, there is no compulsion for people to engage with the DAO and its activities all the time. Usually, uh, when we have a upcoming Let's Grow live season, like people come together and like become more active during that phase, and then like the off season, people are doing their own thing, and they're kind of out of context, right? So like during the weekly meetings, yeah, you don't see all the DAO members participating. There's still some who join occasionally, and for them to like catch up on all the things that were discussed, even though we share the meeting summaries and all of that, it becomes difficult for them to engage in like decision making processes, right? So yeah, that's been one of the major things, like also to coordinate, different people with different priorities, with different levels of, involvement in the DAO, becomes hard when you have to pass decisions quickly and like change codes in a dramatic way. So yeah, it's like, um, yeah, it's typical centralization versus decentralization challenges. Normally, in a centralized setup, you can, yeah, like some of the smarter people can make probably better decisions, but the wisdom of crowd sometimes brings the quality of decisions lower to like a lower denomination, common denominator, right? So yeah, like if you really want to excel in like whatever you want to do, I think the centralized way works. But if you value, people's, inputs in everything, then yeah, it's a choice you make, but also comes with a bunch of limitations. So yeah, that's been a bit of our story in terms of how it's been kind of hard to coordinate all of these people together to in a unified way where like we're working really efficiently like a machine. That doesn't happen. Maybe yeah, we're exploring how to address those in like different ways, but it's a work in progress.
Yeah, nice. Well, thanks for sharing.
And yeah, and yeah, I think coming to strengths, right? Yeah, so strengths, I think we're really strong DAO, like socially, because we just care for the, our mission and goal at hand. And yeah, because it's not a DAO where like anybody is earning money to do anything, right? So it's purely voluntary that way, and like intrinsic motivation is really high in the members who join it. And we also, we made sure there are like friction points for them to, really become a voting member, because yeah, it's not that like anyone should be allowed to, be a part of it and then like not participate actively. That hurts the DAO. Yeah, I think our strength is, yeah, yeah, we're really cohesive as a unit, and we really care for the broader ecosystem that we work in. And we have a lot of potential in terms of like being able to do a lot of things, because yeah, the social capital of the people involved in the DAO is really high. And yeah, it's like a wheel that connects, all the other projects in the ecosystem for us to, yeah, influence things in like one way or the other. Like if you think of us as like a media platform, like you can imagine like the power we can have in shaping narratives or making meaningful conversations happen. And yeah, you can trust us as a DAO to do the right thing, because there are so many decision makers involved in doing something. So yeah, if you were to assign us with a job that you want to be confident that the best interests of the community are taken care of, then Let's Grow DAO is the place to do that. So that's how I see it. And yeah, I think the social capital we have gathered as a community, as a DAO, is immense. And yeah, it's our strength, and also the cultural part of it. I think we're really open and nice, really caring as people. And yeah, the environment that we create for the projects that come participate in the platform, they really cherish it and value the offering that we give to them. So yeah, yeah, I think if you speak to anyone who participates in Let's Grow live, you will understand, what their thoughts are in the environment that we create for the ecosystem.
Yeah, yeah, wonderful. It makes me curious to bridge this a little bit to coherence and the process that we're in designing and creating coherence. We're now with I think around 10 co-stewards. Um, Based on your experience with Let's Grow, how do you perceive the process with the coherence team, and what kind of lessons do you think are relevant to share? Like, what kind of advice would you give to the coherence team as it grows and evolves and gains more structure? Yeah, could you share your reflections on that?
Yeah, I think coherence is coming together very naturally. And yeah, I think there are a lot of parallels in terms of like what Let's Grow Live is and what coherence is. Maybe that's live. This is, more async that way. And this is also more structured, where that is more, yeah, emergent, if you can call that. And yeah, yeah, so it's yeah, I would say coherence is much more relaxed in terms of, the demand it asks of you for, how much work you need to do. But yeah, in that case, it's like a 2 week commitment, either half hour or 1 hour slot. You're expected to, come online every day and, engage with your community. So yeah, it becomes more demanding that way. But yeah, in terms of like how it's being organized and structured, yeah, I like the way it's growing so far, and yeah, it yeah, there's a lot of similarities actually, like in terms of the projects that are signing up and the processes that you all are following. It's way more structured for sure, but yeah, we're yeah a little more haphazard in like how we deal with things. So yeah, like most of our Let's Grow live productions have happened like with just 2 weeks of preparation. Like if you, I don't know if you believe that or not, but that's actually true. So yeah, there's a
Yeah.
lot of chaos in what we do, and yeah, here it feels much more yeah, organized and peaceful. So yeah, the advice I don't think I have, because it's a really different way of working and building. And yeah, it's a different structure for sure. Yeah, I'm not able to think of like any high level points that yeah, like key takeaways. We're still in the exploratory, like the MVP phase, right? At Coherence, and it's a small, tight knit group. 10 co-stewards is actually a good number. How we plan Let's Grow is we need at least 12 stewards, because we need the steward to be online for 2 hours every day to help the hosts, right? So yeah, that's kind of our requirement, and yeah, because this is async, I guess, and we're still in the learning testing phase. Yeah, it's just a different structure, but um, yeah, I can't really think of any, because we've not done this. Like we're still getting started, and yeah, I don't see a lot of difficulties here, because everyone's either yeah, they're all good with talking to people and doing interviews. It doesn't feel like a big challenge for the co-stewards to do this, because it's async, and it's a friendly conversation, yeah, that you're having with people and like getting to know them. But people can get nervous if it's in a live situation, and they're not good public speakers, or they don't have experience with those kinds of things. So yeah, even in that case, it's okay, because yeah, we treat it as a learning journey, and yeah, we help them get through some of their fears and still participate. So yeah, we try to match make them with some of the more experienced speakers and hosts, so they don't, yeah, they don't feel too nervous while they're doing it. So there are all those things as well, like how can you look out for each other and yeah, help each other out. So yeah, I think as long as we're there for each other and like care for each other, and yeah, I think it's all going to be fine. So yeah, I think we'll have to see as it goes.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, I have maybe one last question on my behalf, and then I also want to give you a chance to ask some questions, because I know you also were curious to know more about
Yep.
me. Um, well, you already mentioned that currently it's run by volunteers. Um, and I think that, yeah, like you say, that has the benefit. There is a lot of intrinsic motivation. I also know that for a long-term commitment from people working with volunteers can be a challenge, because people drop in and out, and you need to integrate new people. Um, do you have any plans on, I don't know, funding or resourcing Let's Grow DAO? What's your idea around that? And
Yeah.
yeah. I'm curious, especially because you're working with Gitcoin grants, so you would say you're kind of close to this fundraising
Yeah,
dynamic. Yeah.
yeah.
Why is that not flowing yet? Like, there must be a reason. Is it conscious,
Yeah,
conscious, unconscious? I'm curious. Yeah.
yeah, it's been a strange like fundraising journey for us because I think we add immense value to the ecosystem that we operate in. But still, funding has been a bit of a challenge for, I don't know, weird, different reasons, I guess. But yeah, not entirely in our hands, I guess. But so yeah, but we are thinking of evolving the product, which is Let's Grow Live, into something yeah, a more monetizable thing. We've been thinking of how we can get revenue streams through the services that we offer, which is, you can say, think of it as sponsorships or ads on our screen when people are talking about their project, and there's like a QR code people can scan and like donate to a project, right? So people can pay for those things. So we've been experimenting different ways to monetize what we are doing, and currently we're in the process of yeah, taking what we have learned so far and making it an actual business. So how do we offer this to anyone, let's say, who's running a grant round and they want us to do a live 24/7 program, or like whatever online augmentation we can do to their program. Last, yeah, like 3 months ago, someone actually approached us just after we finished the Gitcoin round. If we had the bandwidth to take up something specifically for them, for which we didn't have the time at back then. But yeah, we realized that we can actually sell this as a service to anyone who's running a grant round. And so that's one source of of revenue. And yeah, we, like I mentioned before, we also did some educational programs which were paid gigs for us. So yeah, we bring the same community. They're good with content creation. They're good at educating people because through Let's Grow Live, we do that all the time. Somebody new who's unaware of Web3 comes in and they want to find out what's happening. So we kind of take them through the whole, educational program, like in a live setting. But yeah, not very well structured, but we can always deliver that if it's needed from us. So yeah, we've done a couple of those, yeah, in for a couple of projects until now. Yeah, but we're also like, yeah, figuring out like how else can we explore this and build on top of this. Yeah, there's plans yeah that are ongoing. There's nothing yeah, concluded as of now to share more, but hopefully in a month or two we should have more yeah, ideas of how we can monetize it and become more sustainable as a community to offer this more to different ecosystems as well. So yeah, plans
Yeah.
are ongoing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think it's an interesting topic, and I know from my own work that it's sometimes hard to monetize bringing people together and stewarding networks. Yeah, I don't know.
But we
I don't know
still,
why exactly. It also changes the dynamic if you monetize it, or yeah, and especially if you're in an early stage. Yeah, there's
yeah.
less track record to show. So yeah.
Yeah, we've been operational for 1.5 years now, and we've done, yeah, five of these 24/7 editions. So there is like a significant track record. We have all the numbers in terms of how many people are coming on as listeners, speakers. reactions, like all that. We're accumulating all of those numbers. So in case we have to go pitch this to someone, it's just about presentation and aligning with the kind of value they're looking for. So yeah,
Yeah.
like I said, we've done a couple of paid gigs, which earned people money as well. So being a part of this network gives you those perks, like as and when there's revenue that comes through. We
Yeah.
have a mechanism to split between the project that executes, and also we take a portion of that into the DAO for like the ongoing operation. So yeah, that's how we work with the paid gigs at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah, and what about running your own Gitcoin round during these live programmings? I mean, you already have the audience, you're doing it for other projects. Like, would make sense to have your own Gitcoin round application running.
We do have an application, and we've qualified for a couple of rounds, but yeah, we haven't. I don't know. It feels strange that we haven't gotten into like the big leagues yet. Uh, but yeah, we have plans to make a like run a round by ourselves for the community, and yeah, that's still work in progress. There's like a lot of things to do there, so yeah, just maybe some alpha. um, yeah, it's a work in progress. We identify a lot of gaps that in the ecosystem that I think we can address with our own grant round. And yeah, fundraising is the biggest part. So yeah, securing the funding does take a lot of work. And yeah, I guess I guess you understand that part of it, right? So yeah, uh, it's yeah, uh, there's a lot to do. Yeah, don't want to make more promises, but yeah, hopefully we should have something exciting.
Yeah, well, keep me posted on that. I think it's a very interesting topic, and I think many projects that are pioneering or in this regenerative space, they are struggling with fundraising. And whereas when I see these projects, I'm like, this is the work that needs to happen. Like this is so amazing, and people like you and your team should be funded. Um, and yeah, I'm very curious how we can learn from each other and potentially even collaborate on the fundraising aspect. That's something that I'm tapping into, or inquiring into, like how could we shape that? How could we start doing this together? Because like you say, also it requires a lot of effort, and your team is probably focused on the work itself. So then you also need to divide your attention, and yeah, that's always a bit of a challenge. And you need to have ideally someone who is having expertise in that field, who knows how to do it, and who can be fully focused on it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And yeah, all most of the DAO members, the voting members are founders themselves. So yeah, we don't have a lot of bandwidth, to for like multiple projects at the same time. So yeah, it's a bit of that issue as well. Um, yeah, but I think when the need comes, we all just come together and do what's supposed to be done. So that way, I feel positive that if let's say funding suddenly dries up and someone needs to hold their hand up and say let's do something about it. Yeah, I think we have the network to make it happen. But because
yeah,
others are kind of um, yeah doing their bit in terms of like bringing just enough funding for the space. We've not like taken that up, but yeah, I think we can be more clever about like how we can use the resources at hand and have a larger impact than just running spaces or live stream events. So yeah, let's see. I
yeah,
think coherence is yeah, I mean, hopefully it evolves into something more. Like, yeah, I know there are plans for, bigger things with funding and those kinds of things. So, yeah, I think it's all coming together, converging, and yeah, hopefully we see light at the end of the tunnel.
Oh, for sure. For sure. I mean, at least we're having a lot of fun while creating all this, and we're learning a
Yeah,
lot, and all of that only accumulates the value that we can bring to the world. And I trust that the resources they come at the right time. Also, like you're saying, working with volunteers, it means that people are very intrinsically motivated, and that also has its value. So
yeah.
yeah, I think
But I think that always needs
there's
to, yeah, be compensated extrinsically also.
I
It goes
agree.
well.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Working on that. Yeah, right now. So yeah, not going to be a voluntary organization forever.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, should we get into? I mean, I don't know. Do we have too much time? Like it feels like, yeah, we just.
We have little time, so we need to focus our energy. Like, if you want to know more about my work and also where our intersection is, I think that's also interesting.
Yeah, let's do
Yeah, let's
that.
see how far we get.
Yeah, cool. So yeah, tell us about what you've been working on. Yeah, maybe yeah, you might have like multiple projects going on, but what is it that aligns most with coherence and yeah, what you're doing in the project?
Yeah. So on a larger sense, I'm a vision and network weaver, often kind of in between different projects and connecting them. So I have a good view on um, well, this regenerative movement and systems change space. And I do have an affinity with projects that are focused on collaboration and have a technological component. I think this intersection between the technological and social space is what fascinates me most. Also, because I have a background in robotics engineering, like this high tech systems engineering. So my mind works like that. And I've always had a passion for technology and the potential of it. But I also let it go at some point because I realized the challenges of our time are not able to be solved just with technology alone. There needs to be happening a lot more in the social context, maybe even in the cultural and spiritual context, kind of coming back to who we are and realizing the interconnectedness of all life. And I think that's what inspires me about coherence, this combination between technology, culture, and consciousness.
Mhm.
Um, um, Especially at this point with the focus on the projects that we want to bring together, the ecosystem that we focus on. Um, and what is interesting, like how coherence came on my path, is it started at the beginning of this year when I connected both with GaiaNet, Yannick from GaiaNet, and Oliver Clarity from the Open Systems Foundation. And we came together with two others, and we laid the foundation for what we called Hive, which aims to be a knowledge sharing platform powered by AI, focused on initially the regenerative movement, but beyond that for any kind of organization and ecosystem that wants to build collective intelligence. So we
Mhm.
have been doing this envisioning process, and that at that point also we connected with Gian Andrea from HiveMind and Symbiosis, who's also part of this ecosystem. You can, I don't know if he's already been part of some conversations. I hope he will be.
Yeah,
Um,
I've
and they
spoken to
are
them. Yeah,
already, okay,
yeah.
yeah, and they are already developing a prototype of this AI hive mind concept, being able to synthesize a lot of different information into collective intelligence. So yeah, we've been taking first steps. We've been preparing also for fundraising. And we also came up with this idea of hosting an online, or not, yeah, both an online and a physical summit to focus on AI and the funding aspect and collaboration, AI collaboration and funding. And then at that point, we got in touch with Victor's initiative that became Coherence eventually. And when we saw it first, we're like, oh, this sounds very much in the direction of what we want to do. So I quickly jumped on board, and yeah, also within this Hive team, I kind of got this role as ecosystem coordinator. So kind of bringing together all the different partners that we need to build this vision, because this is a massive vision. We also realize this is beyond just one team. This is a whole ecosystem that needs to develop this, and in order to build this vision, we need to focus on collaboration. It's about how do we make so many different partners collaborate on the same thing. So now with Coherence, it's just so magically aligning all of that and very naturally emerging. And I feel that with Coherence, we're tapping into a very powerful format because of its simplicity, by using conversations to train AI models. And yeah, me stepping also in the role of lead for the AI development. I think it's yeah, it's just very, very aligned. And I don't know at this point to what extent people who are watching this are aware of this part of Coherence, but this is kind of an add-on that we want to develop on top of this summit with these recorded conversations, that we have an AI agent that can kind of read the transcripts and transform that into collective intelligence and ecosystem overview, insights, strengths, challenges, shared direction, all of that, and give people an option to interact with this ecosystem in a more organic way through a chat interface, for example. So I guess this is a bit of an overview of my background and also how I arrived in Coherence, and how I feel it's aligned with my path and my skills and abilities. And yeah, I'm just super excited to be working on this.
Yeah, it feels like you just fit like a glove into a hand, with this whole coherence project and what you were doing before. Yeah, maybe can we go a little bit deeper on the hive mind, because it seems like that's at the center of your involvement in how you brought your expertise into this whole collaboration space, and then that kind of aligned very well with what coherence is doing, so that feels kind of like the centerpiece. So what is
Yeah, sure.
the
Let's do that. And
big
maybe as a
vision?
side note, also the Hive team itself will onboard as a project. So
Right.
soon we will be able to have this conversation with them as well. But let's do a little teaser. I think that's good. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah. Why don't you give us like the big vision and what's the, problem it's solving, or, yeah, what's its purpose? What's the purpose of the hive mind?
Yeah, so one of the challenges that we see in the regenerative movement is that there is a lot of cutting edge wisdom and knowledge being developed by a lot of different projects, but this knowledge often remains isolated in silos. Um, and why that happens, I think because people are often very focused on their own work and they don't have the incentive also to share it with other people. It's just like the fundraising thing, it's another thing to do. However, people are very willing to share it. People in this regenerative movement, they're all open to collaboration and sharing. So there isn't a desire, but something is stopping them from doing that. And with Hive, we aim to give them a very natural way of sharing knowledge which we see as starting in the organizational unit. So every organization having their own kind of honeycomb place. If you take like the beehive as a structure, so every organization has its own honeycomb structure, its own hub for knowledge sharing within the organization. So there is a direct benefit for them to use this platform, and then from there, each organization can choose which piece of knowledge and information they want to share with a wider audience, and that can be with partner organizations, that can be with an ecosystem of projects, or it can be with the public. So we see that kind of layered access approach to knowledge, and then each organization can have its own AI agent that does the synthesis of information and helps contributors to the project to access that information. And then from there, it expands to like ecosystem level and the public level, and AI agents that can synthesize this information into collective intelligence. And what we see there also as an important aspect to weave in, and we don't see exactly yet what this will look like, but we see the importance of also attributing individual contributors. So the people and organizations that contribute certain pieces of knowledge will be rewarded whenever someone does a search query for a piece of information, and then that kind of knowledge is woven into. So that instead of with the current big models that rely on data sets that are either public or sometimes illegally accessed, you hear more messages about that the people that actually produce and create information are being rewarded. So that is an important aspect that we want to develop and build into the structure and design of Hive. So I guess I can share more. I paused it for a
super
second.
Interesting. Yeah, it's I hear, there are, different layers to it, right? With the first with the organization level, and then the ecosystem level, and broader, if you want to go global, the whole movement, I guess, right? Yeah, just curious because I know I've also been, kind of ideating on this a similar concept, but uh, for region build's mission, which is, to help the built environment uh, have this collective intelligence about, how do we regenerate the built environment, and like what are the different things you need to do, how do you connect the people with the right resources, and yeah, there's a bunch of things to do, right? So just curious, like what is the focus area going to be? Because even if you start at the organization level, each organization maybe, yeah, they have some things in common, but if you have to go really technical, then you have to treat them as like different entities and optimize for different things. So yeah, I'm just curious, are you first tackling this from an organizational level, or at an ecosystem level, or the larger movement level? Yeah, if you call that. Yeah, because each one will have a different set of priority lists, and yeah, it's kind of hard to like tackle all of these things at the same time. So yeah, I'm just trying to understand where exactly how you're planning to do this.
Yeah, that's a really good question. Our original thought was to start on the organizational level because of user adoption, because there we can deliver value straight away, and then from there further develop. And I think you can, have very quickly connect an AI agent to different organizations based on what they make publicly available, for example. And in that way have added benefits for people to be part of this tool and be part of ecosystems and invite other organizations. At the same time, I think our strategy is also emergent and it's not written in stone, and as I said before, we realize we rely on development partners to build this vision. And if I look, for example, at Coherence and what we're developing here, it might actually be that Coherence provides a very interesting format for onboarding projects into this kind of collective intelligence AI infrastructure in a very natural way, right? We invite people to simply have a conversation with another project, and
Right.
they have a conversation, and in that they naturally share information about their organizations, and ideally we connect more background info about projects as well, so that if any user queries the AI agent connected to Coherence, can also find more background information and see what kind of projects are working on which topics. And so, like, we're taking it all one step at a time, and I think the development trajectory of Coherence is interesting, and there is already this convergence happening with Hive in a natural way, and there is a desire to collaborate. So, like, in a way, I don't know exactly how this is going to unfold, but yeah, seeing Coherence coming on my path, on this path, and how it evolves, it's like, okay, uh, there is a very logical unfoldment in a way if you're able to let go of your preempted thoughts and plans of how you think it should go. So there
Yeah.
is something beyond this, right? This co-creation with life, and understanding that is beyond us, and there is also a higher intelligence working through us. So there's a big
Yeah.
part of surrender in the process, and simply being present and having fun and following the threads that life offers you.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think it's always advantageous like to be adaptive. Like optionality is, yeah, I think it's a good position to be in. Yeah, I think, yeah, the way it works is, yeah, a little bit, um, yeah, yeah, it really depends on, I guess, like what phase you're in. Like in the beginning, it's okay to be, open and adaptive. And then, like, I guess you have to like choose a stream like where you follow, and then maybe you come back and you solve other streams. Maybe you follow other streams, and yeah, like try to merge them all together at some point, right? So yeah, I just think like if you focus on maybe like the core infra that lets different organizations use that in their for their own stuff, and then like how do they become better operators for in the field that they operate in, and then contribute more to the ecosystem. I think that's a strategy. I think you're on kind of on that path right now. So yeah, if you think of coherence as like the outer layer, then maybe like some of the organizations that are using HiveMind as for their units, yeah, is already like bringing a lot of benefit to them. So yeah, I think it's a interesting strategy, and yeah, it sounds good. So yeah, awesome. So what are some of the challenges you've been you think from your perspective that you notice in the ecosystem at large, and like what is stopping people from collaborating? Is it just the time, or like is it the awareness, or yeah, what's the why do you think there is yeah, not enough collaboration happening, and like what can we do to make that yeah, more mainstream, or like the default kind of way in which we work, right? So we're still
Yeah.
an emergent movement, and there's, yeah, like you said, people are working in their silos, but they also understand that by collaborating you make the most out of the resources that you have, and get more done or have more impact. So yeah, what's stopping people from doing this?
Well, I think in the first place, a lack of awareness of other projects out there that might be a potential fit to collaborate with. I think also the uncertainty or unclarity of what kind of benefit it will bring. Like when you're opening for collaboration, like we kind of know there's a benefit to it and it brings value, but sometimes it's hard to see that in advance. So it's you're also taking a gamble to invest time into that. And many projects, they are focused on their own thing and finishing their own thing and getting resources, getting funding for their own thing. So I think there is something about the whole way we fund these kind of projects make that they're very much focused on their own thing. And there is, like, we're not taught to live in a culture of collaboration. We grew up in a culture of competition and not realizing that someone who's doing the same thing could actually be a great partner, right? I think there's some mindset shift when you see someone doing the same thing, instead of like, oh shit, that's a competitor. We need to do. How do we
I see that behavior
outcompete that?
so much. Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas
Yeah.
I always see it like, oh great, someone is doing the same thing. Great, then we can do it together. We can do more. We can do better. We have to do less. So I think there's something about changing the culture, and that requires people like you and me, I guess, that are doing this weaving work of connecting projects, seeing the similarities, see how they complement each other, see how they can work together, and facilitating these connections. So I think that's an important part. And then additionally, I think there is a challenge with actually resourcing the facilitation of collaboration, because it's this in-between space, and our funding models are not focused on that. And also our business models, like connection and collaboration, it's hard to monetize. And I do think it's possible. I just haven't figured it out yet myself.
Yeah.
And so there's, on both sides, the I feel the resourcing models that we use need to shift and be more focused on ecosystem development instead of like funding individual projects. And I hope also that we can get there with Coherence at some point. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's you I think hit the nail on the head with the culture part, because I think that's at the foundation of all behavior. And also the connection, I think, is yeah that's a consequence, like more downstream to culture, right? So if we had a culture of collaboration, and we would actually find connecting different people valuable, and we would recognize that, and compensate people for that. So yeah, I think we're really trying to go deeper into this topic with Coherence. And hopefully we will have more answers in terms of how we can enable more collaboration, coordination within the organizations, and how they can work better, to do the work that they're doing. So yeah, it's a really interesting space that we're operating in. And yeah, I'm super excited with what's to come, and all the projects we onboard. And hopefully we can all weave it together, and create this ecosystem of thriving companies that are doing regenerative work. So yeah, really excited for this, for the program we have ahead of us. So
Yes.
yeah, it's a
That sounds like a beautiful closing of this conversation for now. That is a great summary, and looking ahead. And
I wanted to be mindful, because we're still, I think we're 20 minutes over. And Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think my lunch is being served soon. I know your belly is getting very loud at this moment because you didn't have food for a while. Yeah.
not so much also actually. Now I feel energized and maybe I don't need to eat for a bit more. So yeah, it's okay. I'm good. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, great conversation. I think we covered all the things. Maybe yeah, we could go deeper into what you're doing. I barely covered, like, I didn't even ask any of the questions that I wrote down actually. Just listening
Good.
to what you were saying, and yeah, so we have opportunity to maybe talk again and yeah, go deeper, I guess. So yeah,
Absolutely. I
that,
think this is a beautiful, beautiful start of getting to know each other and each other's work and seeing the overlap and the weaving with coherence itself. And I hope this conversation has planted some seeds in the consciousness of the people watching. Maybe this sparks inspiration to reach out to any of us regarding the work that we're involved in, or regarding coherence itself. Please don't hesitate. We are very open to collaboration. So if you want to step into this culture of collaboration, I think this is a great place to start. Um, yeah, if you're a project that wants to participate, you can apply on the website. Um, Please like and subscribe on YouTube so that we can get more exposure for this kind of work and help in highlighting this ecosystem of projects working on conscious collaboration through Wise AI and Web3. And yeah, looking forward to
yeah, I think that's a great closing note. Yeah, it seems like you've been practicing this for a bit. All the keywords just flowing through you. Yeah, I'm still finding it difficult to, gather these words at the right time to, yeah, during conversations. This is my first, I think, call with the coherent call, I would say. So, yeah, looks like
amazing.
this was a good practice for sure.
Oh man, you did fantastic. I love listening to you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, let yeah, looking forward to doing more. So yeah, looks like yeah, I think we can close on this note, right? Yeah, don't
absolutely.
want to hold you for longer, and yeah, so let's make more conversations happen.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank
Have a
you,
great
Bart.
day.
You
See you next
too. Have a
time.
wonderful rest of the week. See you.
Yes, thanks. You too.
Ciao.
Ciao.